Does Australia as a country has an appetite for focusing and for sponsoring a lot of research projects for Australian universities?
Yeah. So in Australia, we have got Australian Research Council. That's equivalent to National Science Foundation in US. But then apart from that, there are research funding coming from CSIRO, that's Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, comes from lot of various levels of industries, community organization, state governments. So there are lots of research opportunities in Australia.
Hi everyone, welcome to AECC Thoughtcast. I am absolutely thrilled to be hosting an incredibly accomplished guest with us today, distinguished Professor Syed Islam from Federation University, Australia. For those of you dreaming to study in Australia, especially aspiring engineers, you guys are in for a treat because he brings a wealth of experience and insights to share with all of you. Currently, he is the Associate Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research and Innovation and Advisory to the Vice Chancellor on New Energy at Federation University. He is also the Founding Director for Center of New Energy Transition Research at Federation, and he has published over 400 technical papers. Yes, you heard that right, 400 papers. He is also the recipient of many accomplished awards. So let's go ahead and welcome him. Welcome, Professor Syed.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
AECC Thoughtcast. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you.
Would you like to say something to our students?
Yeah, first of all, good afternoon, assalamu alaikum, and namaste to all of you. I'm thrilled to be here in New Delhi and India again. And I'm representing today Federation University, and as I have been introduced, my research area is in renewable energy and electrical power engineering. So I'm an engineer. I've been Dean of Engineering, Executive Dean of Engineering. And as mentioned, I am also the Advisory Director for Center for New Energy Transition Research at Federation University, which is funded by the Australian government. So I would be pleased to share some of my experience with you as we go along this thoughtcast.
All right, let's begin. So my first question to you is that engineering as a subject has always been very competitive. But of late, we've seen a lot of new specializations and concentrations emerging. So at Federation University, what are the different kind of specializations that are there in the core engineering degrees for international students? Can you share a little about that?
Yeah. So when it comes to engineering, the variation of the basic engineering degrees are always there, and they are contemporary, and they are to address to the contemporary need of the century.
Right.
However, the foundational programs like civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, they always remain.
Right.
So as you mentioned to me that what are the contemporaneous? For example, our electrical engineering combines information engineering.
Oh.
So that these days you have heard about the word smart grid and smart power system.
Yeah.
That's basically adding a layer of computer control and communication on our transmission distribution systems.
Okay.
So to address that, we moved our degree to that regard. And also, renewable energy is a very contemporary subject and very emerging subject. And we at Federation also addressing renewable energy through that undergraduate electrical engineering program. Apart from that, a master's degree in renewable energy electrical power systems is also on order. And then outside of engineering, we have got Master of Applied Cybersecurity, Master of Data Sciences. These are some of the new and contemporary program, along with another engineering master's, Master of Engineering Project Management.
All very cutting edge.
Yeah.
All right, super. So I also wanted to talk about the research opportunities. You know, when it comes to research, the importance of it in an engineering student's life cannot be overstated. And Federation University is renowned for its focus on innovation. So what kind of research opportunities are available for undergrad and postgrad students?
Yeah, it's a good question and one that is very close to my heart. So I'm very, very pleased to share my experience there. To our fellow students and aspiring students at Federation, I would like to start by saying that we teachers are there to teach, but really what we enjoy is doing research.
Yeah.
And we'd like to bring our research experience into the classroom. I personally felt very, very enjoyable when I could share with my students a story that resulted from my research and related to that topic that I'm teaching.
Right.
So research actually is a very important part of the professor's life. And of course, for the would-be engineers, they should be also aspiring for innovation,
Right.
because engineers are innovators.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is what sets them different from other profession. So yes, at Federation, we do a lot of engineering innovation, and that is available to our undergraduate students through honors degree,
Okay.
research topic.
Okay.
Coursework master students do a coursework master's project, master's by research, and PhD by research.
Okay.
And all of these area that we supervise, and students are supervised by very experienced and research-oriented professors.
I have a follow-up question on this. Does Australia as a country has an appetite for focusing and for sponsoring a lot of research projects for Australian universities?
Yeah. So in Australia, we have got Australian Research Council.
Okay.
That's equivalent to National Science Foundation in US.
Okay.
And they fund basic research, applied research. They fund doctoral program research. They fund industry transformation, training center type of research activity. They fund cooperative research centers,
Right.
and they fund international research partnerships and so on.
Right.
So that is just for the government and its research program. But then apart from that, there are research funding coming from CSIRO, that's Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, comes from lot of various levels of industries, community organization, state governments. So there are lots of research opportunities in Australia.
Right. And what about internships? Does Federation University has any tie-up with companies that can offer internships to students?
Yeah. So Federation University is the first university in Australia that committed that by end of 2025, we'll be giving all our students in all our courses a co-op education opportunities.
Wow.
To be able to do that, we need to find partnership,
Right.
with industry.
Right.
So far, we have already partnered with 60 plus industries in that regard. And the quest continues as we need to offer internship opportunities for all our students.
Right. And any student who's studying in Federation University will have an access to these internships.
Yes. So by end of 2025, each and every student will have a co-op placement embedded in their curriculum.
Wow.
So like if they cannot complete one of the course, they cannot complete the degree, they have to complete this co-op to get a degree.
That's an excellent insight. So let's say there's a student who wants to do an internship in a company that right now does not have a tie-up with Federation. Does the university still have some kind of support system to groom that student and secure that internship?
Yeah. So the Federation University has got a career counseling office where they keep contact with lots of employers where our student or past students have been employed.
Right.
They keep this data.
Okay.
So they can look at that, match with the student profile and give them the contacts.
Okay.
The co-op education office now is a big source of contact. A lot of money invested in that office and a lot of people there.
All right.
Then there is a foundation office, which are like people who want to give to Federation University. And then this office also partners with industry that gives to the university. And they give it for a purpose, like either for hardship or either for a particular reason or for diversity, inclusion, and those opportunities. And so they have got contacts.
Right.
Head of departments, deans, professors, they all have contacts through their research or through their business deals. And they can provide these links and connection to students.
Right. And besides internships, even when it comes to actually finding a job after completing your degree, the help is there at that point as well?
So we can provide them with names of the companies who have employed Federation University before.
Okay.
That information is available.
Okay.
But the whole purpose of co-op education is that the industry is also investing in this because they have to pay the student during co-op.
Right.
And they have an interest because particularly for small to medium enterprises, it's hard for them, particularly engineering students, to get them to be employed in their organization. They look for big brands, big names like BHP and Osnet and these big miners, right? So these small to medium enterprise company have got an opportunity to look at their prospective employee through the co-op education. So if everything goes well, the student is actually having a long interview session with that industry. So after graduation, we actually believe that it will lead to a continuing employment, right? We don't have the data right now because we just started and embarked on the journey, but we believe that it will provide us with good data.
Right. And besides the data, there are also the softer skills that a student has to be trained on, like the resume building or the interviewing skills. Is there some kind of mentorship program there as well?
Yes. So there is an office that helps the students preparing their resume.
Okay.
And there are also senior students who are signed up as volunteer mentors for junior students. They are also a good source of information and help.
So, Professor, I have another question that I think is going to be close to your heart. Okay. So, in the first question, we spoke about engineering being a competitive field. It is also ever changing and ever evolving, right? And for a student to stay ahead of the curve, it is very important they have access to those cutting edge resources. So I want you to talk about the engineering labs at Federation University. Any upgradation in the facilities that you would like to share?
Yeah. So of course, as you mentioned, that teaching IT is not. I would hate to say this because my IT colleagues might get upset, but it's not like setting a computer lab and you can teach IT, right?
Yeah.
Engineering lab and engineering resources are cost intensive. And this is why, it's an expensive education system.
Right.
However, those labs are absolutely necessary. And those labs need to be continuously upgraded. So you asked me that what is new, right? So something that has been installed and commissioned within the last week probably will be a good addition. Okay. So at Federation University, we have established an electric vehicle laboratory that just was commissioned last week as a close to $1 million lab. And the purpose of that lab is for students to study microgrid. So those of you who do not know what microgrid is, a microgrid is essentially an area which can run on its own energy through distributed energy resources. But it is also connected to the main grid in case the local grid fails, right? So that kind of study requires the embedment of wind, solar, photovoltaic, fuel cell, electric vehicles, right? Loads, everything coming together to study those various aspects of microgrid.
Right.
Okay, to teach and research on control, communication, stability, feasibility of establishing a microgrid. And that is a lab that we just commissioned last week. So that is a new lab, and not many universities in Australia have that.
So a lot to look forward to for us.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So also when an international student lands up in a new country and a new university at a new campus, they need some sort of peer-to-peer help or mentorship programs to adjust, to get a hold in and settle in the first year.
Yeah.
So are there any mentorship programs that helps the international students especially to settle in the first year?
Absolutely. So students who joins us for the first time, they are taken through an orientation program.
Okay.
And in that orientation program, they are introduced to their course coordinator. They are introduced to their senior student mentors.
Okay.
And they are introduced to various support section of the university.
Okay.
And through this way, we introduce our help system to our new students.
Okay. Right. So they're not left alone.
No, they are not left alone. Yeah. They can always approach help. And I would say that if you are a prospective student and at Federation University, not only that you look at those names that I mentioned, but you also make an effort if you are in trouble or if you need information to see your head of department or your dean, right? They are there to help you. They are primarily there for their students. And I have been a dean, and I know that when an undergraduate student came to my office, I instructed my secretarial staff that they have the first priority, no matter who is waiting for me.
Yeah, right. Wonderful to hear that. And also, Professor, when it comes to the emphasis on practical skills these days, there's a lot that happens outside the classroom and outside the textbooks also. So, in terms of any engineering related clubs or societies or competitions that happen at Federation universities, our students would love to know.
Yeah. So, engineering is a very professional degree.
Okay.
And we introduce our students to the chapters of those professional societies while they are studying. So, for example, Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers is an US-based electrical and electronic engineering society.
Right.
They have got 460,000 plus members worldwide, the world's largest professional body. We have got a student chapter on our campus of IEEE. And the students are encouraged to become their members. It's free to them. Right. They can become a member, and that society will organize a lot of activities, and they got access to that. Without that, there is a program called Engineers Without Borders. Okay. So that is a program which Engineers Australia coordinates, and universities are member. We are a member of that. Our students are able to go either nationally or internationally with various programs with Engineers Without Borders, and we provide support to our students to do that.
Okay.
So, and as such, there are other professional engineers and computing society, and their presence are there on the campus.
Right. Another question that we get a lot from our students is that Federation University has 4 regional campuses, right?
Yes.
And most of the students, they want to travel to either Melbourne or Sydney, the city campuses. So is there anything that you would like to say to our students on that?
Yeah. So first of all, we are a regional university. We are the only regional university in Victoria. We have got campus in Mount Helen, which is our main campus, which is 100 kilometers from Melbourne. Right. 1 hour and 10 minutes by drive or train. Okay. And then we have a campus in Gippsland. That's 180 kilometers to the southeast. Okay. And that's about, about 2 hours drive. Right? But apart from that, we have a campus in Berwick, which is in Melbourne, Metro Melbourne. And now, very recently, we have acquired a campus in Melbourne CBD. And that will start with teaching 4 of our master's degree program.
Okay. So very accessible.
That is in CBD.
Right.
So right in the heart of the Melbourne city.
Right. Okay. Wonderful. That's great to know. So my last question, and I have to ask you this. You have research interest in the energy distribution systems, and smart power system, and renewable energy. And sustainability. That is such an important topic, a hot topic for youth these days. Yeah. So can you share something about your work, your research, and why do you think renewable energy is the word to go for the youth today? Yeah.
So apart from, when I started researching, researchers always follows funding.
Yeah.
And so I started follow funding, and renewable became a big agenda in Australia's landscape. And money were coming from different angles to study and research on renewable. So that is one reason, right?
But so are you saying there's a lot of money in the research?
There is a lot of money right now in renewable energy, right?
Okay.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we got $5.5 million from federal government to establish the Center for New Energy Transition Research.
Right.
That gave me to hire 3 professors, 4 doctoral students, and 1 postdoctoral fellow, right? That's how we can go on researching.
Correct.
But what actually brings me to this field of research is, that I just think that we need to leave for our generations to come, for new generations, a world that they can live well, they can breathe well, and they can enjoy the bounty of the nature.
Absolutely.
And I think that the way the climate change is happening, and we can see signs of that.
Absolutely.
I am told that in Delhi you have never seen that this weather in December.
Yeah.
So that is a sign of things to come. In Australia, we are seeing that spring is delayed, summer is delayed, winter is delayed, and either extreme winter or extreme heat. Something is happening. So there is something happening, definitely, right? no matter how we agree about it. But the data shows that the world temperature is rising. And because of this, I think the world is at stake. And we need to move away from fossil-based energy sources. That's why we need to develop renewable energy. But renewable energy like solar, sun cannot shine, maybe not shining. The wind may not blow. So how do you rely on that energy on the grid? Right? That's a lot of research challenges. Right? How do you make that energy stable? How that make that energy sustainable? How we make that energy affordable?
Correct.
And that is a big research thing. And there's never a dull day in research into renewable energy because of so many different challenges. Yeah, like for example, right now the topic that I am working on is something called neighborhood grid.
Okay.
So what that basically means is that in Australia now 3 million houses have got rooftop PV. There will be electric vehicle in everyone's garage very soon. How is that possible that every mom and dad, every house can become a prosumer? That means they're a consumer as well as they're a producer, right?
Oh,
So
that's a new term.
That's a new term, right? So you are a prosumer, right? So basically, then the grid now says we don't want more renewable to come into the grid because we're already managing difficulty, right? So the question is, can I share that with my neighbor, right? And then collectively as a neighborhood, can we trade that in the energy market to get better rates, right?
Wow.
Okay, and make money, right? So that is something. How do we trade? Maybe blockchain-based trading system. So that's something that I'm researching now, right? And I'm seeing a lot of interest from different company and organization to fund research in that space.
Right.
So yeah, look. So as I say, never a dull day, and there's enormous opportunities and lot of potentials in this space. So yeah, so I really enjoy researching and working in this space.
Right. Wonderful. So with that, I think I would like to wrap up today's wonderful podcast. Thank you so much for being with us today. It was a privilege to speak to you.
Thank you very much to inviting me to this podcast. Yes.
Thank you.